7,200 seconds ago, I didn't think I could stand on this stage. Not because I was unprepared, not because I didn't believe in this idea, but because I had just lost something I thought I had already won. When they were announcing the awards for a program I care deeply about, and my country was not called, my hands went numb. I remember standing. I remember hearing the crowd, but I couldn't feel my fingers. And what hurt wasn't losing. It was the thought that followed. If I didn't win, then who am I? Who am I standing here? The question scared me more than the result, because identity begins quietly, but expression makes it visible. Most of our lives happen before we ever say anything out loud. Think about school. Not the grades or the tests, but the quiet moments. When the teacher asks a question and you know the answer, but you don't raise your hand. You rehearse it in your head, you improve it, you wait. And then someone else speaks. The idea stays unexpressed. That creates a space, a gap between who you think you are and who the world sees. That's where doubt lives. Not doubt about the idea, but doubt about you. That space is uncomfortable. It's where your work is invisible, where your growth isn't obvious yet, where you know who you're becoming, but no one else does. In that space, silence feels safer, because silence protects you. If you don't speak, you can't be judged. If you don't step forward, you can't fail. And if you don't try, you can't lose. But silence also keeps everything theoretical, untested, unchallenged, and unproven. We think staying quiet is strength, but sometimes it's just delay. Psychology calls it possible selves, internal versions that we imagine becoming. But imagining them isn't enough. They only become real when we step into them. For me, that happened through MAL, the Model Arab League. Before MAL, my ideas about politics and diplomacy mostly lived in my head. Then, I spoke. And people responded. They debated me. They built on what I said. And suddenly, my ideas weren't private anymore. They were in the room. That's when my identity became visible. MAL became part of who I was becoming. I worked for it, prepared for it, built myself around it. And without realizing it, I attached my identity to the result. So when the award didn't come, I didn't just question the outcome. I questioned myself. The next morning, I didn't want to come to school. Not because I was ashamed of my work. I was afraid that one word, lost, would become my identity. Afraid that a result had rewritten me. But something unexpected happened. People didn't see a loser. They saw my work, they saw my preparation, and they saw my growth. And that's when something shifted. The award didn't define me. It mattered. It still matters. But it didn't create who I was becoming. The work did that. The effort did that. And the risk did that. Recognition reflects identity, it doesn't create it. And if your identity disappears when recognition disappears, then maybe it wasn't identity. Maybe it was dependence. Expression is the bridge. It shows what was already there, even imperfectly and even without applause. And standing here right now isn't separate from what happened. It's part of it. I thought losing meant my identity had paused. But identity doesn't pause just because recognition fails. It keeps moving, it keeps growing. Sometimes quietly, sometimes without applause. This stage isn't proof that I didn't lose. It's proof that I didn't stop. And what happened to me isn't unique to conferences. We all spend years becoming someone in private. But becoming isn't enough. At some point, we have to step forward. 5 days ago, I had a completely different version of this speech prepared. It was polished, structured, and certain. I didn't know I would have to live the lesson before delivering it. Loss rewrote parts of the speech, but it didn't rewrite me. A few minutes ago, this idea was only mine. Now, it belongs to you too. And that's the power of expressed identity. Thank you.